Okay, so today's job is going to be to clean the EGR valve in this 1 litre Vauxhall Corsa. I don't expect it to be too difficult. I haven't actually done one of these on a Corsa before, but let's have a look. From the look of things, it's all going to be 10mm bolts. So the first thing we're going to need to do is try and make some space for us to work in. So we're going to do that by taking out these two main cables up here, and I've already loosened it, but this is part of where you attach the cables when you want to, sort of cables, the chains when you're going to take out your engine. So this is a 10mm bolt that goes underneath this hook, and we can just pull that out. I did notice there is some thread tie on that bolt, so you might have to give it a bit of a pull. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're just going to move these cables. They're not particularly stretchy, but we need access to see what it is that we're doing. So we've got, so this is your EGR pipe. Okay, so this is part of the gas recirculation, and it comes into the EGR valve here. This is the cooling pipe, okay, so because it's water cooled. I've already moved this clip out of the way. I'll be taking this clip off and replacing it with a Jubilee clip because I hate these clips. Find me anybody who likes them. They're good clips for what it is that they do, but they're such an arse hate to move. So I'm going to take this off and replace this with a Jubilee clip. But then there's a bolt just here, and then back around this side there's a bolt here and a bolt that's underneath, I think. Or was I dreaming that there was a bolt? No, there is. It's right in, up tight against the oil filter housing. So getting to that may be a bit tricky. I don't know. Maybe we should try that one first. Okay, so 8s. Okay, I thought they were 10s, but they're not, they're 8s. So is this extension enough to get me through to it? Maybe with a bit of jingle jangling. Let's have a look. Nearly on? Yeah, we're on. Okay. What's going on? My selector just decided that now is a really great time. Here we are. There we go. After all that, it's not particularly stuck in bolt. Leave that there for now. Move on to the one above it. Okay. So they're not the toughest bolts to move. Let's get back to this bottom one. We can get this out by hand now. We can just latch on. You can see a little bit of coolant coming out there because this is where the coolant pipe is. I'm just going to put that back in slightly. So I want to use that as a guide for the bottom one, for how much farther I've got to get that out. I need a longer extension, I think. Just in a bit of a tricky place because of the oil filter. and it makes it kind of cramped. Okay, right, that's pretty much out. Before I do anything else, I'm going to need to take this coolant hose off. So we're just going to put a little bit of WD on there. And I'm going to get a large flathead screwdriver. I'm just going to prise it back a little bit. Okay. It's alright to put the screwdriver underneath it. There we go. Okay. Then what you want to do is either clamp it off if you've got a big enough clamp, or just stick it up right out of the way and then just let that come out. I've already got a bucket under the car because I knew I was going to be collecting it. So just let it do its thing. Right, so that's all drained off. So let's go back and work on what we need to work on. So we're going to get these main EGR pipe off next. Okay, and then we're going to get that one off. And then that should be enough to bring the whole thing off together. So I think I'm probably going to need an extension to be able to reach through. So there's one on the bottom, and there'll be a gasket that holds them in place, a solid metal gasket. That one felt worryingly loose, which could explain why I get so much the smell. Yeah, that one's quite loose as well, because I've been getting quite a strong smell of fuel, just unburnt fuel. And I've cleaned the throttle body, which I'll show you how to do in a different video, and replace sensors and filters and whatnot. Okay, so that's that one out, and then the bottom one underneath it. Yeah, I can do that with my fingers. That's not so good. But hey. It's like someone's had a go already but not been able to tighten them up. Okay, so that's that out. So now we should be able to just pull this apart, like so, like that. Just there, can you see that? There is your metal gasket, so we'll be giving that a good clean. Okay. Now we are through to the last one. Once again, that wasn't particularly tight, was it? Get some tissue because my hands are wet from the coolant. think that should be it. Oh, there's another, I can see the gasket just here. I don't think there's any underneath, or is there? Oh no, there is. There's one right underneath. How am I going to get to that? That's interesting. Okay, I worked it out. The oxygen sensor cable, look here, comes through to a metal bracket where it plugs into, and there's a couple of earth cables there. That metal bracket is actually pretty thin, so you can actually push down on that metal bracket and it will bend it out of the way, and that moved it far enough back that I could get a small ratchet with an 8mm under there and then loosen it off. And once again, it wasn't on particularly tight, so now I just need to finish it off with my fingers, and as you can see, the EGR is already coming away, which is great news. So let's just get that finished, and then we'll take it off and give it a good clean. Gotcha. One EGR valve and all the gunk that's inside it, so we're going to give that a nice clean out. Okay, and where's the, yep, there's a little metal gasket just here, so we can give that a clean too. Let's crack on with that. Just quickly, that bracket I was talking about is just here. Can you see it? It's on a really thin piece of metal, so it lifts up, and then with a bit of pressure it goes back down again. I mean, assuming that your car isn't rusted to pieces, it's not going to snap on you or anything like that. Alright. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of carb cleaner and spray it on the valve area. Doesn't need to be a lot, and then wipe it down, give it a good clean. Look at that, instantly better. Make sure you get right in there to where the gaskets go, because that way the gaskets get a good seal. And they go back on, because they'll be useful. Too shabby, eh? Yeah, this car has not really had any love at all. When I bought it for £150 from CarsWithNoReserveReading, and it was a full-on state. So I've bought this as my son's first car, and whilst he should be here really doing all of this, I thought I'd document it for anybody else out there who buys one of these. Hey, that's nice and clean, isn't it? Okay, so here we are. This is the EGR valve on the car. It's, as conditions go, it's not too bad. It is a bit grubby on the inside, but I'm pretty sure they get a lot worse. Can you hear my cat growling in the background? Can you? Oh. He's a misery sometimes, so we're going to give that a clean. We're going to go over this gasket, okay, and we're going to go over, this is the gasket that connects to the EGR pipe, right? So put some blue paper down, tear off another couple of strips. This is carb cleaner, okay. It cost, I think it was £6.99 it cost me. So let's do the gaskets first, get those nice and clean, give it a good spray. This stuff is really pungent, alright, so make sure you're in a very well ventilated area before you do this job, because these fumes will knock you out. Okay, and the back. try, if you can, to be really careful not to bend it because it's quite thin material. There we are. Okay. I'll put that somewhere safe where it's not going to get dirty again. And then we'll do the same to the gasket that goes on the EGR pipe. Now, I wear glasses, but you should make sure you wear eye protection when you do this, because if the spray goes in your eyes, it's going to really cause some damage because it's a solvent. There we are. That looks alright, doesn't it? So we'll put that up out of the way. Let's have a look at that. There we go. So, give it a good spray. And you'll see all the black stuff just comes right off. Okay, where's my torch? You probably can't see, so if I change to a different beam, don't know if you can see in there at all, but it's really just surface. The build up isn't particularly high. Normally, you know, you can often see like a really high build up where it's being choked. So I'm going to give it a good squirt on the inside now. From that, it's a pretty good job. So then, where around does that go? Along at the bottom. There we are. So that's going to fit on there like that. And then this one. Fit on this end, like that. Okay, let's clean this off as well while we're at it, because I'm going to be putting some lubrication on there. Okay. Didn't do that, did I? If you can see, so where that EGR pipe goes in, it goes into the EGR valve from down there. You see the tissue just sticking up. Get a screwdriver and you'll be able to see better. You see how it goes in. Okay. All we need to do now is put it back on the car. Okay, so putting it back on in theory should be a reversal of what it is we did to take off. So what I've done is I've put the bolt that's furthest away already through, and through the gasket as well, so it gives us a good guide as to where it is we're going to be. And we know that this bolt goes down here place, and I start the thread with my fingers. Okay. So that thread is bit. Now I can go for the top corner bolt. Okay, and then with my other finger down here, I can use that to help guide the bolt through the gasket. There we go. And then I can put that in there, and that makes the gasket lined up already across the other corners, you see, so I'm not having to use any guesswork. Okay, then we've got another one goes through there, and it's already lined up. You see that? Then we've got this tricky one that's down here, right next to the oil filter. We just need to get that lined up. This one is a bit harder to get at with your fingers. It's kind of 10% turn as opposed to the others. But I'm in the hole, which is always a good sign. Okay, right. So don't forget we're using an 8mm. Just check them on. Tighten. Yep. So I'm using my smaller ratchet this time. I think it's just going to be a lot easier. And we tighten in diagonals. Alright, so okay, so now we need to put this back on the EGR pipe. So we're going to put the bottom bolt through. Okay, like so. And then we're going to hook the gasket over the top. Easier said than done. Then we can start threading. And that makes it easier to do the top gasket. Like that. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to put the cooler hose back on. Before we do that, just need to pop this new Jubilee clip over the top and then push it on all the way, like so. Okay, now that is a something mil. How much is that? It's about a 6. Let me just put that out. Actually, I'll probably just do it by hand. There we are. That's that done. Now, I'm just going to lift this tray back up, not be bent down like so. That's now back in where it's supposed to be. And all we're left with now is reattaching of the cables. So one went in there, and the other went in there. Job done. Look at that. So don't forget, you need to top up your coolant now when you start the engine, but it should be all good. Okay, I hope that was some help to you. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and there'll be more videos coming up pretty soon. All right, catch you later. Bye.